Allied forces continue to make progress throughout the South Pacific. A beachhead has been established at Sandakan during Operation Challenger. The forces that are now ashore are reporting soft resistance and report the area will be secured by D+23. It does not look like the Soviets are going to let Sandakan fall without some sort of resistance. Satellite reconnaissance has identified an enemy surface action group centered around the Slava-class missile cruiser. As of September 11th, the hostile task force is presumed to be somewhere in the Sulu Sea. 2 NATO submarines are in the area, USS Silversides and USS Barb. These 2 submarines must find and destroy the Slava-class cruiser before it's able to get in P-500 range and attack the beachhead with its missiles. Hello everybody, Wolfpack here, and welcome back to Sea Power, Naval Combat in the Missile Age. Today we are continuing the Pacific Strike campaign. We are in command of 2 submarines in the Sulu Sea, and we are tasked with intercepting and sinking a Soviet Slava-class cruiser. We already have her on sonar, it seems. 3 sound contacts here. One's moving 26 knots, could be a warship. One at 13. And another at 13. We have 2 more contacts, well, a contact way up here moving at 13 knots as well. USS Barb is also in the area. USS Barb is a Permit class submarine. Let's have her stream out her towed sonar. I would also like to reduce speed down to 1/3. We should be operating above the layer. Yes, indeed we are. Now, Silversides is in a pretty good spot to actually intercept these 3 contacts anyway. These could be neutral contacts. That would be strange. Let's see. What's our range to that area? 8.2 nautical miles. Well within Mark 48 range. Now, USS Barb is probably outside Mark 40. Well, she's pretty close. Let's have her turn south, west, and we are going to drop her down very deep. Okay, immediately picking these guys up as hostile. This one moving at 26 knots is hostile. 13 knots is hostile as well. So USS Silversides is going to continue to track this contact. USS Barb's going to drop down and increase speed and try to move into a better torpedo position. Now, Silversides is continuing to head east. Speed is 5 knots. Let's take a look at the info here. Now, this one could be a Krivac or a Kara, something like that. Gas turbine, that's its main power. And it has 2 shafts. It looks like we have narrowed it down to just these 4. What about track 7003? Utiloi Slava. That is her. That's her for sure. I'm wondering what they are thinking these are. Other warships, it looks like. 2 shafts, steam powered, and track 7001. It could be this here, and we have finally classified 7005. Let's go ahead and just ID this as hostile. Now, the thing here is we want to fire our torpedoes, and we want to make sure that these Soviet vessels cannot just run away from our Mark 48s. USS Barb, oh, we're actually in a pretty good spot. They run up north. USS Barb's going to be able to get them. Yeah, let's change her course. And what's Barb's depth? Oh, she's nice and deep, passing 700 feet. Really dark down here. Okay, Barb, all ahead flank. Start moving. Start moving. You're going to start hauling. Look at that screw, how fast that is turning. You love to see that.
Contact detected.
The contacts topside are starting to utilize their active sonar. That's pretty standard Soviet doctrine. We are going to drop below the thermal layer, hopefully obscure us a little bit from that active sonar. Now, I bet this contact here is the one doing it. What's her distance? Looks like she's probably 8.7 nautical miles out. And we have finally ID'd the Slava. Look at that. Hello there. Now, a lot of these ships in this formation probably are carrying a VDS, variable depth sonar, so they will all have an easier time picking us up if we do go down below the layer, and they do decide to utilize that sonar system. We'll see, though. We'll see. I'm feeling pretty confident that we will be able to get the jump on them. We could fire harpoons off now. It's just harpoons, man, they just have such a good chance of being shot down. Because at most we can fire 8. Silversides and Barb only have 4 torpedo tubes in the bow. And I'd rather just utilize Mark 48 torpedoes. I do think the Mark 48 has a better chance of breaking past this defensive screen and striking our prey. Looks like the Reds have stopped banging away. USS Barb is now 11 nautical miles out. We are going to fire. We want proper tracks on these contacts, though. Let's pop up above the layer, and we should be able to pick something up. I think the layer has actually changed here. The thermal layer is at 419 feet. We're just going to pop up right above that. Pretty deep thermal layer out here today. Also, the weather could have gotten worse topside. Pretty hard to tell at this point. USS Barb still moving at 25 knots here. She is going to fire her Mark 48 torpedoes first. And maybe the Slava and company will turn to the west to run away and just place us right in Silverside's path. Okay. No more. Reduce speed. All ahead 1/3. Since we are about to fire our fish off. Now, we want to try to time this. 11 nautical miles out. Let's shoot just one Mark 48 torpedo off in this direction. They are wire guided, so we can adjust the course. Let's fire another Mark 48 torpedo out here. And then the last 2 off in this direction, please. There we go. There we go. USS Barb has fired off her 4 bow torpedoes. They are reloading. It is going to take 14 minutes for that to be completed. Now these torpedoes have a pretty long journey to go. We are going to hold fire with Silversides. She is 5 nautical miles out, nice and close. And the Slava is somewhere around here. We're actually not hearing her at the moment. That's okay, though. Once she starts really moving to evade torpedoes, we'll be able to pick her up rather easily. There we go. We got him. Picked up a new contact. I'm going to have 1 Mark 48 target the tender. This one go for the Slava. 2 fish go for the Slava. Then this Mark 48 will go for that contact. We will see how the enemy decides to evade these torpedoes here. The active sonar has started up again. I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to pick up these torpedoes soon. They're still going below the layer, moving at 50 knots. How far away are they? Okay, we've ID'd one of them. I don't know which one they reestablished here. Torpedoes 9 nautical miles out. Still closing. It's only a matter of time before they pick them up, and I do anticipate they will swing and try to run away from the torpedoes, as that is the logical thing to do. We are pretty close as well, Silversides, if we want to sync these attacks up. 6 nautical miles out, 6.2 away from the Slava. What's the reload situation on Barb? 10 minutes to go for a reload. I have a feeling things are going to get pretty exciting right before she reloads. But if that's the case, we start taking some of them out, we can fire off our harpoons as well and really deal some damage. The Mark 48 torpedoes are now just 5 nautical miles away from the target, and surprisingly no reaction from any of the Soviets here. The weather, I mean, these seas are really choppy. It's raining pretty heavily out here as well. I doubt they can hear it very much at all, unfortunately for them. None of the ships have changed course. None of the ships have turned to try to engage Silversides either, so she remains undetected, which is really great news. Now, yeah, these torpedoes are getting a lot closer than anticipated. I do suspect that we are going to shortly be detected, though. Let's erase a lot of these markings here, make this a little easier to read at this point. If these 2 torpedoes manage to slam into the Slava, then Silversides will fire and engage the Kashin and the Krivac. It's just once these torpedoes are picked up, all hell is certainly going to break loose. We also have to remember that the Soviets do use their RBUs to attempt to defend the ship against incoming torpedoes. It is possible that some of these torpedoes will be destroyed by RBUs. A lot of the ships in this formation do specialize in anti-submarine warfare, and as a result have a lot of RBUs. I mean, this Kashin, she is in RBU range of Silversides. If she has RBU 6000s, which I do believe she certainly does. Oh yeah, 3 nautical miles out. Tempted to fire at her now. Let's drop below the layer. Let's go below the layer and turn north at this point. Actually, no, maintain this course. We really want a small, narrow profile. Hopefully remain undetected by that active sonar there. How far are the torpedoes now? 3 nautical miles out from the target. Torpedoes are nice and close to the target at this point. Also, bow torpedo tubes are almost reloaded. Let's come up to a shallow depth and get ready to fire off some harpoons. We are well within harpoon range. And this Mark 48 is coming up. Look, it was operating at around 1,300 feet. It is racing up towards the surface to engage this fleet oiler here. Again, no reaction. Of course, the fleet oiler probably doesn't have too much in the way of hydrophone equipment, but still. This entire Soviet fleet's about to figure out what's going on here in about a minute, I'd say. Okay, we're losing contact. That's to be expected, as both subs are now below the layer. Let's order USS Barb to stream out the towed array. She is now slowly coming up. We can increase speed all ahead 2/3. This torpedo should be hitting here any second now. It looks like it is going to hit just directly amidships and possibly break that oiler in 2. Amazing attack right off the bat. Yeah, this is this is going to be quite the wake-up call for Ivan. Impact. There we go. Now I'm sure they are going to start evading. The 2 Mark 48 torpedoes destined for the Slava class are now rising up. It does look like the surface ship fired a spread of ASW torpedoes in USS Barb's direction. Despite those torpedoes being fired, noisemakers in the water, it looks like it is too late for the Slava. You can see she is turning hard to starboard. More noisemakers being deployed in the water, but this Mark 48 is continuing to just climb up. Yeah, it's got her. That's going to be one torpedo hit right on target. Oh, perfect. Perfect attack. Oh, that's absolutely devastating. And massive secondary explosions on the ship. Fires breaking out all throughout the vessel. Second torpedo hit. And that's going to be it for her, I feel. I just do not see the Slava class surviving that, that's for sure. She's come to a dead stop and fires have broken out throughout the ship. USS Barb's at 900 feet coming up. Let's keep ordering her up. Silver sides. Come to a stop. I'll stop.
Maneuvering eye.
Let's see if you can pick anything up down here below the layer. This Mark 48 torpedo. It looks like it is also racing up towards a contact. These torpedoes were just so deep at 1,500 feet. Hostile torpedoes in the water. All right, torpedoes dropping all around us. Has to be expected. Thankfully, nothing has dropped directly on top of Barb. Let's see if this Mark 48 strikes home, and yeah, it looks like it certainly will. They're all running away. Their RBUs are not an arc, unfortunately for them. Deploying noisemakers is just futile at this point. Yep, that's going to hit right there. There we go. Impact. Big ol' explosion on the stern of that ship. And that's all she wrote, I'm sure. The entire Soviet fleet here is burning up. It looks like the Slava is going down. Well, pretty much the entire fleet has been destroyed at this point. USS Barb is continuing to rise up, still below the thermal layer. It's just taking forever to come up from her depth. There's an AT-2 torpedo right here. Silver sides. Let's start moving. I'll head 1/3. And let's actually turn south. I would like to evade those torpedoes. And Barb's towed array should be up above the layer here soon. Thermal layer way over here is at 255 feet, opposed to where Silver Sides is at, where the thermal layer is at 419 feet, and that's pretty cool. I do love how dynamic all of these conditions are in sea power. Does add a lot for interesting gameplay. Okay, coming up to 95 feet. Good. Silver signs. We could fire, we just don't have a proper track. I don't know where anything is at this point. We could pop up above the layer. Let's pop up real quick. 366 feet, so it gives us something to work with. There we go. Already picking up contacts. Another torpedo in the water. Not surprising. AT-2 torpedoes in the water. Well, that's the torpedoes in the water. They really do not know where our submarines are. Okay, Barb. That's your position. Coming up down to 5 knots. Here we go. Okay, noisemakers in the water. Submerged sub. They're probably calling that out as torpedoes. They say submerged submarines when in fact they mean torpedoes. So we have one noise here. This one's moving at 0 knots. It's possible that got destroyed or has been hit by a torpedo and most likely will sink. We have this other contact here moving 18 knots. 20 knots now. That is certainly something I want to hit, and this contact is moving at 3. Okay, Barb. Okay, this contact's starting to speed up, and I do not like that. Barb, let's fire 2 harpoons at that contact closing in on Silver Sides. Come up quickly. 17 knots, my goodness. Okay, let's mark this position here. Mark 48 torpedo, send it. Send it, Silver Sides. Okay, one torpedo away. I need another Mark 48 to head towards that target.
7015.
There we go. 2 away. And one more Mark 48 to head towards that.
701.
Set 65 torpedoes in the water. Okay, silver sides. Very deep, very deep. Noisemakers being dropped in the water. Harpoons are being fired. There we go. 2 away. Okay, Barb. 2 harpoons outbound. Heading towards that contact, which is the most immediate threat to silver sides. I would like 1 single harpoon, fire at that. And 1 single harpoon, fire at that leftmost contact. I love watching the harpoon launch sequence. There we go, look at them. There we go. All right, your job is done, Barb. Turn north. Very deep, very deep. Okay, Mark 48s heading towards their respective targets. Silver sides dropping down. Where? Heading for what? That's from Barb. Torpedoes in the water. Understood. Silver sides. Keep turning north. Don't have a good idea of what torpedo they were actually talking about here. There are 3 torpedoes heading towards Barb. They are pretty concerned about USS Barb. And this harpoon is closing in on the Cashin. Our Mark 48's also... Unfortunately, yeah, go for the Cashin, please. Swim up, head towards that Cashin. There we go. They are taking a lot of fire, and they're definitely going to try to take out these harpoons. If they start getting hit with harpoons, that is going to be pretty bad for them. A lot of their ASW capabilities will probably be knocked out. Harpoons popping up. Oh, that looks like a hit, unfortunately for them. Impact, amidships, 2 hits right there with harpoons. Secondary explosions, 3. Of course, all of our harpoons went for 1 target. Harpoon moment, but you know. Okay, I'll take that. This Mark 48, before you hit, hit it. Hit the Cashin. Okay, that's fine. This harpoon way down here, so it looks like 3 of them went for that target. 1 harpoon is heading for this southern contact. The Cashin is sinking. She is going down. This harpoon's popping up. And there we go. We've got him. Oh, nope, it got jammed. Okay. USS Silversides did drop down like a rock. She has 1 Mark 48 torpedo still available. Let's fire it off at that track there. And hopefully we manage to actually get something here. We are surrounded by torpedoes. How long till reload? Torpedo inbound. That's from Barb. 125. They may be actually reporting this one over here. I don't know what torpedo they are reporting. It's definitely not coming from down there. This Mark 48 is heading, I'm guessing this contact here, that's moving at 0 knots, is the fleet oiler, which was disabled. We'll hit her with another fish. Barb. 11 minutes on reloads, that's fine. Dropping down like a rock, passing 900 feet. The Mark 48 torpedo heading for the oiler seems to have found its mark, and I think we've got a hit here. It looks like she is burning. There we go, impact. Gosh, that really rocked the ship. Very cool effect to see that. And she's definitely going down now. It looks like immediately taking on a lot more water. That is probably it for this ship. I do not see her surviving 2 torpedoes. Frankly, I'm surprised she was surviving 1. She probably would have gone down without a second fish, but, you know, there's no kill like overkill. Our torpedo has honed in on the last ship and just hit it. There we go. Brutal. Looks like the superstructure is destroyed. She is going down. The ship's just engulfed in flames at this point. All that needs to sink is that oiler. And this wolf pack of American submarines will have destroyed this entire Soviet task force in the Sulu Sea. Somehow, that one ship, that one oiler that we've hit with 2 torpedoes is moving. She has increased her speed to 3 knots, and we cannot let that stand. USS Silversides here has 2 torpedoes ready. Let's just fire one off at that track. Third time's the charm, right? We can already see one of the holes. Mark 48 has popped into the ship. Oh man, one more torpedo. That's really got to do it. I would think. Another hit directly at midships. There we go. Not looking good. Already developing a list to starboard, it would seem. Hopefully taking on more water. Well, folks, it took some time, but the final vessel here is going down. They have taken to the life rafts as she has succumbed to flooding. Well, folks, that was another exciting video in the Pacific Strike campaign. I certainly did enjoy that one, as I am a big fan of commanding submarines, as you all know. Anyway, folks, that is going to do it for today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and comment, as it really does help out the channel. But until next time, this is Wolfpack345 signing off, and I'll see you all on the next one.